be vulnerable and be honest about how am I showing up as a leader? What can I do? How am I modeling leadership in the workplace? And yes, the workplace is remote today, but how am I showing my workplace community support?
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the peopleHum interview series. I'm your host Neha Murthy, and let's begin with a quick introduction of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-way integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. We have with us today Ingrid Thorp. Ingrid has been working as a specialist in strategic planning and operational optimization at Thorp LLC for the past 10 and a half years. She is dedicated and committed to ensuring the business community is representative of the collective diversity at large by engaging communities and offering safe spaces in which individuals can be proud about their work, project, and social enterprises. Her goal is to increase awareness of the talent and economic power of high caliber women and BIPOC professionals and to create environments where underrepresented voices in the workplace are amplified. We're extremely happy and honored to have someone of her stature on our interview series today. Welcome, Ingrid. We're thrilled to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone at peopleHum for finding me and inviting me for this. This is a wonderful conversation to be having. It's always a good conversation to have, but I think it's even more important to have it these days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's absolutely our pleasure. And hopping right into the questions, Ingrid, you specialize in organizational development and diversity, equity, and inclusion at Top LLC. Can you tell us about your company and the work you do there?
Sure. So Thorpe specializes in strategic planning and operational optimization. We use our expertise to help clients improve their business performance across a broad range of specialties and daily operations. So, human capital management, talent, technology, and finance. We offer our clients tailored services so that we can tackle the most complex challenges that they're facing, um, whether they're preparing for growth or embracing digital agenda, whether they are looking to maximize operational efficiency, and just really working with clients to find new opportunities, reduce costs, and improve efficiencies, and just stay ahead of the customer demand. Really plan for the future, plan for the unintended consequences, and how they can be ready to help their clients. And we really do. We feel that we create foundations that help companies to grow and really scale, and that's really important. Personally, what I do is I developed years ago a personal mantra, and I call it cultivating collaborative communities. And in that, what I do is use that as a guiding light for everything that I want to um, help people to see that every space that you occupy is a type of a community. So whether it's at home with your children or your extended family or the people that you work with, or just your community in general. But what I like to do is really combine the experiences that I've had and mash them up with my passions to help folks, individuals, and teams find their personal power, step into leadership, and develop and inspire others. I think that's a really important aspect. Is planning for the future. Succession planning is a really it's a big goal of mine. While I don't necessarily talk about it either in written or spoken language, that is the underlying driving force of what I want to bring to all clients in as they're looking to implement any kind of strategic transformation.
Wow, that's really interesting. And also, you've mentioned that part of your work includes creating safe spaces within office. Since one's safe space can be highly subjective, right? How do you suggest leaders go about identifying employee safe spaces and implement them at the workplace?
Oh, sure. I think we can all agree that safe spaces are something um, completely different today than they were even 2 years ago. And I think before we can talk about that is like just looking at how quickly the things have changed. So 2 years ago, everyone was talking about safe spaces from the perspective of creating welcoming, engaging spaces where individuals could feel safe, bring their authentic self to work, making concrete contributions based on their, diverse point of view, or just sharing through their individuality. That was 2019. 2020, safe spaces became about being able to discuss the challenges that everyone faced due to pandemic, social justice issues, political unrest, and the unprecedented consequences. Um, I think Zoom and Slack were at the forefront of creating safe spaces for the workplace. Absolutely. And obviously, today is January 15th. It is early days in 2021, and I truly believe that the guiding tenets of 2021 are going to be empathy, agility, and pivot ability. How quickly can we shift when something is not working to keep our work place community safe, turning into what employees value as that's going to guide the leaders in identifying what they can offer their community, their workplace community. I think that that's one of the things that we're not we might not have started talking about it, but safe spaces in 2021, they're going to continue to include being able to turn off your video meeting camera when someone's just had enough. We use the expression Zoom fatigue. Uh, just because you're on all the time. And so it can become a real challenge for individuals who are maybe a little bit on the shy side or are just um, tired of being on, if you will. Empathy ruled 2020 as a guiding tenet of creating safe spaces, and I think that that's going to continue to apply in 2021 going forward. So beyond, I think empathy is definitely something that everyone's really looking for in terms of how we can independently create a safe space for our colleagues in whatever space. So if it's a Zoom call of 6 or 60, to be able to afford folks the opportunity without judgment. You want to have your camera off. That's fine, not a problem. If you want to speak up, use the chat. Using the resources that are available to us right now is really, really important. And having patience. I know we're using the word grace a lot. I don't know, at least here in America, we're using the word grace in terms of uh, the patience that we're demonstrating and the leniency that we're offering to everyone that we're working with.
Absolutely, I completely agree to that. And with the pandemic, the entire perspective of safe spaces has changed, right? And actually redefined. It's completely redefined into fitting in these 2020 and 2021.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. And it is truly more important now than ever for leaders to inspire employees and bring out the best in them. So, how would you suggest they go about doing so?
I think probably the most important action that any leader can take right now is building trust, demonstrating vulnerability, securing an environment where vulnerability um, is not punished, or because vulnerability really demonstrates a level of accessibility. When a leader demonstrates vulnerability, they're really saying, I'm human. I suffer the same things that everyone else does. I I compartmentalize differently, maybe because I'm in charge of 100 individuals' livelihoods, or 100,000 individuals' livelihoods, and that's a very different place to be in. And so when you're in a position of leadership, is sometimes you don't really realize how important it is to let your people know that you are one of them. And I think that uh, any demonstrating a leader's humanity is the kind of thing that really inspires employees to find that extra bit of oomph to get things done, to be like, you know what, I'm one person and I can change, or I can affect this one thing uh, that can help my my leader, my team lead, my boss, the company, everyone contributes. And so it's a great way to get folks to come and rally together. We found that as business owners, or leaders in an organization, one really needs to have a strong sense of self, and being open to learning from employees is critical. Uh, uh, it's so important to acknowledge that you're giving the talent the job, and also know they are not going to know everything. And that's what leadership is for, guiding the future leaders. So, supporting talent development, leaders can really inspire teams to come together, to grow, to change the team. Change the team dynamics, challenge the team limits individually and collectively. And so there's just there's a greater sense of accomplishment when everyone does come together. And so the quicker a team can begin to challenge notions or past actions, the quicker a team can be able to create solutions. And some are going to succeed and some are going to fail. And that's okay, as long as there are takeaways and lessons learned. Also, just keeping in mind, leaders set the tone, both good and bad. So um, if a leader is really interested in their people and what's happening, just listen to the people that you have empowered, that you've hired to do these roles, and that really does change the way in which individuals see themselves in the workplace. They'll find a sense of connectedness, a sense of community, and also contribution, which is so important. And even more so today, when we're not having that opportunity to, go and grab a tea or a drink and on the way, and stop by someone's desk, or and say, hey, do you have a minute? I have a question. That isn't as easy today as it was 2 years ago. And so finding those spaces to create that sense of normalcy is really, really important. And that's why I say, Slack and Zoom, absolutely leaders in the space for keeping your teams connected. Microsoft Teams does a really great job in leveraging that connectedness as well.
Absolutely, that makes so much of sense. I mean, when you build in the trust with your employees, it gives them an opportunity to, have confidence in them and step up and contribute to ideas, and that delivers a great output as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, in an age where transformation is the need of an hour, how do you think leaders can go about implementing strategic transformations?
Well, I think because of the circumstances today, we actually have to go back to basics. And one of the basics is think of food, what we consume, what we share, and also where it comes from. So if you first think of your workplace community as a garden, it must be looked after in order to grow and thrive. They are living, breathing entities that require seeds planted, water, food, pruning, repotting, and so on. Good gardeners plan for the season. Great gardeners plan for the future sustainability of the farm. So thinking about what will be needed based on what is happening today? Daunting? 100% yes. Scary? Absolutely yes. Unpredictable? Of course. But mapping for diversification of a business will be the core of strategic planning. Right now, the new normal is not normal, not even a little bit. And we really need to revisit the workplace we want the next generation of professionals to step into. So, what kind of spaces are we creating? How are we investing in the next generation? Are we starting mentorship programs sooner? Are management training programs being designed to really leverage the tools that we're needing to use today? I think the way forward really includes serious introspection, asking what kind of employers do we want to be? What do we want to give our people? And also, I think it's really important to focus that the focus of leaders in implementing safe spaces is going to be about activating inclusive workplaces, creating and employing services that are going to support the talent, that remove obstacles in the shape of um, safe, healthy workplaces, um, including like mental health needs of workers, is top of mind for many organizations because their employees are directly being impacted by what is happening outside their doors. So I think critical conversations about safety in the workplace are going to be a priority. What does a safe workplace look like going forward? You know, how are we addressing the needs or the challenges of the people or teams or community? And assessing the workplace and reassessing are absolutely going to be key. It's important to strategize what returning to work looks like, including the topics of politics in the politics at work or in the workplace, creating meditative spaces, and sadly, being prepared for violence in the workplace, as we saw here in America last week. So yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And before wrapping up the interview, any sound bites that you'd like to leave our audience with?
how many can I give you? I have a lot of I call them personal mantras, but they're as far as sound bites, I think thinking about cultivating a collaborative community um, is what drives everything I do. But also finding what drives what you do or what any leader does in their space. I think one would be 21st century leadership mandates emotional intelligence at full strength. So if you want to be a 21st century leader, you have to start thinking with 21st century leadership skills. Critical thinking and emotional intelligence are right at the top of that list. And vulnerability is not a weakness, and force is not a strength. That I can't ever emphasize that enough. Also, conflict is not the end. It is the beginning of understanding if you are willing to meet in the middle. I think that's a really important soundbite that I've, I really do believe that conflict it can be productive. It can be, if you treat it as productive discomfort, it's something that you can use to really learn because it's what will expand your mind when you're taking in other others' perspectives, point of views, and considerations that maybe were not in your line of vision. Also, be open to learning. No one knows everything, and no one does it alone. There is not a single person who has done everything on their own by themselves and been seen as successful. Everyone needs a team. Everyone needs a community, a workplace community, and everyone needs mentors. And everyone has the opportunity to be a mentor for the next generation. And doesn't matter. I've met many senior leaders who absolutely have mentors and are mentoring a next generation leader. I think that's really important. I think one of the things we can keep in mind is that the youth of today, they're the leaders of tomorrow. So let's be mindful about what we are teaching them has value. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the last thing I could think of is really leaders set the tone, good and bad. And so it's one again. I feel like 2021 in the way forward. There's a lot of introspection that's going to go into this year because it is about what are you offering, what makes sense. The world is still moving, competitive business is still happening, and how are you making sure that you are taking care of your workplace community so that they can feel secure, empowered, and supported so that they can contribute and thrive.
Wow, that's a bunch of meaningful takeaways, and everyone needs to hear this right at this moment.
Yes, I agree. I think it's so important. It's never been more important to really be vulnerable and be honest about how am I showing up as a leader? What can I do? How am I modeling leadership in the workplace? And yes, the workplace is remote today, but how am I showing my workplace community support, making myself available, making myself accessible, making sure that conversations are somehow in a space like this, making them real, making them honest, and really being able to work towards being a better leader. And that's the thing. We ask employees to be better employees, but we don't always ask leaders to be better leaders. And that's why I think introspection is absolutely top of mind, top of list for strategic implementation. What kind of leader? What's the legacy? What am I leaving behind? Are people going to shake their fist at me and think, oh, this person's never going to retire, or they're never going to step down, or they're never going to give somebody an opportunity? Or will I be viewed as the best boss I ever had? And we all have those stories of the folks who have helped us, who have encouraged us, who have challenged us even to challenge ourselves to be better contributors in the workplace community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. It was lovely connecting with you. I got
Oh,
to learn a lot, and I'm sure it's going to be the same for our audience as well.
oh, thank you so much. This has been wonderful, and I really do appreciate it. Anytime that I can share some of what I've learned, because I've had this amazing opportunity to learn from really great leaders throughout my career, and anything that I have found has value um, has always come down to being authentic, being introspective, and um, and really being humble about it, having a humility about being in a position of leadership and understanding the weight of what you're carrying and how you're leading an entire group. So there's so much. Obviously, we can talk for hours about the topic, but again, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone at peopleHum. This has been a wonderful way to start my morning.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. And as you said, the ladder to learn never ends.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. It was pleasure connecting with you. I hope to stay in touch with you and stay safe, take care, stay healthy.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.